Good day, everyone. Welcome to ACTS Africa's first webinar on Christian volunteering in Africa. We're just giving everyone a couple of minutes just to make sure that we've got everyone that's joining us online. While you're waiting, please see on your control panel that should show up on your screen. There should be a question section. Feel free to type questions if you've got any difficulties hearing us or any questions that you might want to ask during the presentation. You are welcome to just type out your question and we will address it. We can see it on our side. We can't hear you, but we can definitely see your questions. Okay, I think just in general, I'm going to start introducing myself. I think while everyone's logging on, it's fine to just start with the basics. My name is Jolene Duplessis. Shaw Ackerman, who you will see is the organizer of this event, could not be with us today, and I'm his partner in crime, and I will be handling the presentation and hosting everyone today. So just as a quick reminder that we are in Africa, we're based in Africa. We are broadcasting from South Africa's office, Cape Town. Unfortunately, our Kenya office is having technical difficulties with the internet, so Rachel will not be joining us, but we will be handling her side of things on her behalf. Our other panelist is Tapiwa from our Zimbabwe office, who will also be joining us. So please bear in mind if there are any lags or delays, our internet is most probably a little bit slower than yours, and just bear with us. But I'm sure it will run as smoothly as we possibly can. Okay, so not to waste time, I think I'm going to slowly start talking through the slides. And as I said, please just remember that you're welcome to ask questions. You will see you also have a little hand up sign. So if there's anything urgent, you can put up your hand and we will respond to your urgent question. But if possible, keep your questions to the end, towards the end, so that we can just run through the presentation first. Okay, so to start off with, the reason you are here today is either because you've inquired about one of our ACTS volunteer projects or you were just interested in general in Christian volunteering in Africa. So with ACTS Africa, I will be giving a bit more background, but it's the reason we're sharing everything with you today is because we know that Africa has got a lot of opportunities when it comes to ministry work and ministry service, and we would like to share those opportunities with you. We have the on-the-ground knowledge because we are based in different areas in Africa, in Kenya, South Africa, and Zimbabwe, and there are various opportunities. Today we will be talking through three of our very specific summer projects. It's not an exhaustive list of opportunities, but rather just an idea of a very practical way you can approach your first volunteering in Christian volunteering in Africa. Okay, so our presenters that will be joining us, as I mentioned, is Tapiwa Makore. He is our Zimbabwe volunteer coordinator, and then John Durham, who is based in Cape Town with me. He'll be joining me via my laptop, just to make it simple. And then Rachel Njeri, who unfortunately, as I mentioned, cannot join us today. You are welcome to still ask her questions. We will get those answers back to you if we can't answer them directly. Okay, so just a quick run through our agenda. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, very warm welcome to everyone joining us today. For us, this is quite an exciting event. It's our first webinar, and it's very exciting because we have a live interaction with potential volunteers and friends in Christ, and it's just a chance for us to share what we have to offer and also answer your questions. So first of all, I will be going through introducing our volunteer coordinators. I just think it's maybe a good idea just for them to quickly say hi so we can make sure that the audio is working. So Tapiwe, are you there? Okay, Tapiwe, sorry, I think we lost you. Just are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Tapiwe. And Jono?
Hi, everybody.
Okay, so the next point on our agenda would be to just run through a quick background on who Acts Africa is, who we are as an organization, and then also to look at our approach to Christian volunteering in Africa specifically. And then we will run through these summer projects I was mentioning, Kenya being first, then Zimbabwe and South Africa. And then I'll be touching on raising money for your trip if you are planning to come to Africa or to one of our projects, just to give you a few ideas of how do you actually raise the money, where the money is spent, those kind of things. And it's a very brief run through. And of course, everyone's got concerns with security, so it's just a very brief overview on security in Africa. And then we'll give a chance to audibly voice your questions that you have typed throughout the seminar, and then in return just answer them for you. Okay, so first off, Acts Africa is obviously an organization that is based in Africa, which is one of our strengths because we are based in the areas we work in, and that is why we have the knowledge to make sure that what we do has a real and valid impact. So first of all, we are passionate about bringing people with the same vision as we have to Africa and sharing their love for Christ with others that actually need it on the ground. So we are dedicated to not only doing these volunteer projects, but actually have a lot of short-term mission trips and groups that come to Africa, and we handle all the logistics to make sure that they don't have to be concerned with accommodation or transport or the likes. We actually aid them with all those logistics. And then we obviously have these volunteer projects we'll be talking about. And then in various instances, it's important to also just relax a little while you're on a volunteer or Christian missionary project, just to make sure that you have a time to catch up with your thoughts and also, of course, see the environment and area you're working in. So we arrange holidays and safaris as add-ons for missionaries. How we do this is we try and approach, or we approach it as responsibly as possible. The main area being that we work with existing local church-based initiatives. So it's partnerships that are long-term, and it's not our own projects, but it's projects that we know very well and we're very hands-on with. So we support African communities through not only a spiritual in spiritual ways, but actually in practical ways as well, making sure that we actually speak to the needs first before we share the spiritual side of things. So we also aim at offering a hand up and not a hand out, which is very important. We don't want to create a victim mentality. We want to empower communities through what we do. So it's important the projects we work with all have the orientation that you need to teach a person how to catch a fish rather than to just hand out fish. So that is our approach. And then also to ensure that the programs we work with do not create that dependency mentality, as I mentioned. And then also the unique thing about doing a volunteer project through an organization as ourselves is you actually have an ACTS staff member with you throughout the whole process, meaning that you've got insight into that community, guidance. It makes it a completely different experience from coming on your own and trying to understand where the needs are and how you can make a difference. Okay, so we make sure that these experiences are not isolated, you are within a group context, and that it's a fellowship-based process. So that is where I think is also a very strong point, is that we need to be a community in Christ and not try and do things on our own. So that's very valuable to volunteers coming here during this process. Okay, so we also do tours and safaris, as I mentioned. I'm not going to go into detail, but you can see, as you know, there are so many highlights and attractions that are unique to Africa and in the regions we're based. And these are, in various cases, natural world heritage sites. So please also make sure to look into those when you do a missionary or trip to Africa or come to a volunteering project. Okay, so the projects we'll be looking at, as I mentioned, this is not an exhaustive list, but we will be running through 3 different regions, and very specifically the projects you'll be involved with if you joined a summer program this year. Okay, so our volunteer projects have a very have a generic structure in most cases, and obviously it's adjusted according to each project. I just thought it's a good idea to give you an overview of the basic day in the life of a volunteer. So first of all, when you are, obviously you'll be picked up and you'll be taken to your accommodation when you've arrived. A guide will always be with you. Every morning you wake up, you'll enjoy your breakfast, which is included in your whole package. And then you'll enjoy some devotion time together with your ACTS coordinator and your group, which is extremely important to start your day the right way, to orientate and to make sure that you are imparted with the right word and message for your day. Then you go to your project and spend the morning there, have a short break and enjoy lunch, which is also included. And then you carry on with your project work. And then after that, you'll be picked up and then transported back to your volunteer base. In various cases, evenings are free, and then also weekends are set aside for relaxing and reflecting. And in two of the projects we have included activities, where with Kenya there are optional extras just to make sure that you can actually choose your own project, your own activity, and then make sure it's one that suits your needs best. Okay, so as I mentioned, unfortunately, our Kenya coordinator could not join us due to technical problems. So I'll be going through her part of the project. So first of all, when you join or decide to attend or join the summer project in Kenya, you'll basically need to plan your own flights. I will mention an agency that you can also use to help you book these flights at a good rate. And then once you have arrived at the airport, which is hopefully a day before, we would like it to be a day or two before the project actually starts, then you'll be collected or by an ACTS representative, and they will have a sign at the airport so you can recognize them, and they'll take you to your home for the duration of your volunteering project. Then also, all the transport is included with transfers, and we'll be taken, in Kenya's case, to Brackenhurst Conference Centre, where they have a little volunteering cottage, and you can be sure that it's safe. They have security guards just to make sure that you feel safe at all times on the site. This is just a quick picture of the accommodation that Kenya has to offer. It's based by the Brackenhurst Conference Centre, which is a massive conference centre and hotel. But it's very private and on its own, so that volunteers can get the most out of their experience. There are space for about 14 volunteers, and it's dormitory style rooms. You'll be sharing with either gender based, of course, with either men or women. If you're a woman, you'll definitely only be with women, and the other way around. And then, which is unique, is you've got your own in-house chef, and known for his good food, and your food will always have a little bit of a Kenyan twist. And these meals will be served at the cottage, and you can also be involved in preparing meals during the process. Okay, so just to run through the ministry work or service that you can be involved with during your stay, it's basically, with Kenya's background, it's focusing on the needs in the area. With Kenya, there are over 1 million orphans, and mainly this is a result of HIV and AIDS that have left several babies, children, younger children, teenagers without parents, or alternatively, it's because of poverty and circumstances and abuse that these children need love and support. So the ministries are very much focused on that. We'll start off with the Angel Baby Orphanage. The Angel Baby Orphanage was actually founded by a local Kenyan woman, or as we say in Africa, a mama, with a passion to look after neglected children. These babies are taken into the home and they're given the love that they need during their time there until they can go to a suitable home or family that have adopted them. So during your time here, you'll be involved with daily needs such as changing nappies, feeding, bathing, just holding them, just being there, enjoying the babies and the development they go through. I think we all know it's so important for a small child to be loved, for them to develop normally in all areas of life, physically and mentally. So these are the things you would be able to be involved with if you were to join the Kenya project and the Angel Baby Orphanage. Then the Lemuria Children's Centre is actually focused on not only your orphans, but also the vulnerable children. So many of them, as part of a feeding scheme, you would be involved with helping to make food and assist with the daily preparation of food, as well as play football, soccer with the children. So the age groups vary. You can see there's over 150 children that are served through this project. And it's a big platform to be involved in a very practical way of sharing God's love. Um, the Lemuria Children's Centre is not everyone actually stays there, but the centre provides support to several children. Okay, so the Women's Power Group would be your next. This is the only mandatory project during your stay. You'll be enjoying Bible study every Wednesday night with a group of women. Truly an inspirational time, not only just giving, but actually learning from these women. They're a group based they started with the main reason to support each other. It's a group of HIV positive women, and they not only give each other some emotional and spiritual support, they've actually started a business to support their families, to support themselves, where they sell handmade crafts. And they set the money they make out of this, they set aside for emergency medical needs and other funds to support themselves. And obviously, it's a very important platform for them to move forward and stay positive in life. So this is a very rare and unique opportunity to share with women that's gone through the storms of life and have come out the other side with God at their side. So this, as I said, is the only mandatory service you'll be involved with. The others, you would be able to choose which one you attend during your stay. We then have the Lemuria Children's Centre. It's just a branch from the main centre and involves preschool children between the ages of 4 and 7. And here we've got the feeding program that I was referring to as well. And once again, you can be involved in several levels, whether it's teaching, whether it's preparing meals, or just playing with kids, or a very practical level of actually maintenance and building and any other general repairs that are needed at the centre. Okay, so of course, as we mentioned, you do need some free time during your stay, and there are several places to go in Kenya that are extremely beautiful. You know, the areas that are world known. I was very interested to also find that Hell's Gate is one of the areas where the movie The Lion King was based on. Just shows you how inspirational this environment is. So during your stay, you can ask your volunteer coordinator to assist you. There is a safari office that will help you plan your trips at the best rates possible. Okay, so just to sum up quickly, this project is based in Limuru, Kenya. You can either go for 6 or 4 weeks. Your start date would be either the 6 weeks one would be the 27th of May. As I mentioned, you need to make sure that you're there just before the project start, the day or two. And the 4-week one is from the 1st to the 27th of July. And the price obviously varies according to the amount of time spent there. It would either be the 6 weeks one would be $2,250 and the 4 weeks one would be $1,500. I would like to now hand over to our Zimbabwe volunteer coordinator, Tapiwe. Tapiwe, are you ready for us?
Yes, awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Jolene. I'm just gonna say that I'm really excited to share what's happening in Zim, and there's a lot that's been happening for a really long time. A bit of history is that when we started a couple of years ago, the main issue that was there in the country was that a lot of children lost their parents to the HIV and AIDS pandemic, and all sorts of other issues that happened. And then, so there was so many orphans in the country. And basically at the time, there was like 1.6 million orphans, roughly 1 in every 3 children at the time. And this was so huge, we thought that we needed to try and do something to help. So our vision has grown ever since that time. And we've partnered with organizations like Living Hope, which is based in Cape Town, and are trying to help communities rather than just trying to put out fires, because we felt like we were we're just putting out fires and not really making a big impact on communities, just by just working with a few orphanages. So that is what has led us to working in the communities that we're working in now. Awesome. The volunteer project in Zimbabwe runs over 2 periods as well. We've got a 4-week program and a 6-week program, which run between May and July. So yeah, just like on the Kenyan one, you would want to come in about a day before, so that you don't miss out on anything. Awesome. When you get to Harare, you arrive at Harare International Airport, and you will meet one of our representatives who will be with you pretty much the whole time, and just making sure that everything is running smoothly, that you're comfortable, and giving you the plan of what's going on, where you're going to be going, and helping you with anything else that you need. From there, you'll go to where you'll be staying, which is the team house in Harare. This house has very quickly become a home for some people. I know groups who have said that they feel so much at home because it's so comfortable, and it used to be a home in itself, which has been renovated to be able to take more people and serve groups when they come in. It's got 24 beds. And depending on the number of people who are here, you can share a room, or you might even be able to get a room to yourself, which has happened in the past. We've got a swimming pool, and you can get wireless internet and be able to talk to guys at home and just update them on what's going on. Great. Maybe we can talk about the ministry work that we're doing now. So like I said before, the vision has grown. And there's a community called Hatcliffe, which is a short drive from the house, maybe 10, 20 minutes, and you'll be in Hatcliffe. And this community is a community that was resettled some years ago, and they've gone into Hatcliffe. And it's basically a community that has very weak structures in many directions, including drainage, even social structures, close to non-existent. People just live wherever. Some of them are still living in the tents that they were given by USAID maybe 8 years ago or something like that, which is quite sad. But that's the community that we've been led to work into. So some of the ministry work that we're doing is we work with orphans, and so that's orphan care. We work with vulnerable children. We work with the youth in the community, and we also have compassion ministry. The drive that we have has really been to try and work with the future generations, because we feel that though we can impact the grown-ups in the area, the future is where really will make the biggest impact. And when children grow up with different values, with feeling like they're worth something, we feel like we can make an impact in the future through them. So that's the drive that we have. So orphan care, we're looking at going into orphanages. There's actually an orphanage in Hatcliffe, a school in Hatcliffe that is mostly comprised of orphans, and this is a school that we've been working with. And you'll find children there ranging from 6 years to 12 years, and you actually find that in some of the places the teachers need help, because some of them can't struggle to even communicate basic English communication, and these are the people that are teaching in these schools. So we try and do tutoring for the children and for the teachers as well. We mentor the children, walk with them, and get them to feel like they can become something and grow and become something in their lives. So that's the orphan work that we've been doing. Vulnerable children. There are a lot of children in Hatcliffe and even in Harare in general whose parents died because they had HIV or other reasons that their parents may have died. And there's a lot of children who are living in child-headed homes in the city and in communities like Hatcliffe. And we try and work with these children and give them support groups and try and teach them how to to take care of themselves. This is some of the work that we are hoping to be able to go into, and maybe start projects where they can um, uh, take care of themselves and take care of their siblings as well. So there's a lot of youth ministry that's started as well in some of these communities where we can impact these children and get to know who they are and what's going on in their lives. So yeah, that's the work we're doing with vulnerable children. We're also working with the youth, and not just the youth in Hatcliffe as a community, but also in Harare. And generally, we try and work through the churches and try and because the churches are the easiest way to enter into any community. We try and work with local churches and have different things happening, like teaching people life skills. We've had groups that have been taught how to write a simple thing like a CV. So we work with orphanages like one orphanage in Harare called what's that orphanage called? No, for St. Joseph's. So St. Joseph's is a home, basically a boys' home, where these boys are taken through high school, secondary school, basically. And some of them get to the time when they need to apply for jobs and don't even know how to write a CV. So we work with guys like that and try and teach them how to how to help themselves in the future, basically. So we try and reach out to these kids, and you'll notice that a lot of them, when as soon as they're done with school, because they don't really have any outlook, they feel like they can just they're not worth anything and don't go anywhere. So the next thing is compassion ministry. There are many homes that are in Hatcliffe that the grandmother is taking care of all the children, and she probably doesn't work, and she's probably always in the doing something, and we try and get the groups to go in and maybe help her with some chores, talk to her, have fun with the children, maybe take the children for a little bit and just take that burden from her for a little bit. Also trying to visit the sick, sharing meals with people in the community, and just letting them know that there's a love of God and it's not all bad out there. And there's a lot of other things that are happening in the communities that are just trying to uplift them. And hopefully soon we'll be working into trying to help people start their own businesses in the communities. It's not all just work. You can have weekend excursions, actually, where basically on the weekend you can go and visit places like Lomboshawa. Lomboshawa is a big rock, and you can climb to the summit. It's quite an exciting climb, and there's some rock paintings. You can go to Dune Estates. Dune Estates is a community where they've come together, and they do local curios. So you can buy curios. You can get to talk to the locals over there, get to know the history of how some of those things came to be. Some of the creations they make came to be. You can also go to Chengeta, which is a game reserve, and have some fun over there. And depending on the time, you can also be able to go to and depending on availability, and if the timing is right, you can be able to go and spend a night in a village and get to see how the people enjoy their evenings. Get to share a meal with the people in the village as well. There's also Antelope Park, which on both programs you can go and spend 4 days at Antelope Park and get to just enjoy what they're doing over there. They've got an amazing lion rehabilitation program they're running at Antelope Park, and you can get to see that and get to learn what they're doing.
Okay,
Jaylene.
thank you, Tapiwa. I appreciate your run through, and I'm sure everyone was very interested to find out what they can do in Zimbabwe. Um, I'm just going to quickly run through the overview of this project. So, as Tapiwa was explaining, this was based in Harare, Zimbabwe, and you will be in the ministry will be in the surrounding villages where the needs are. The length is either 6 weeks or 4 weeks, and your dates are the 25th of May to the 6th of July. That includes your arrival date, and in this case, so it will start physically on the 26th of May, and then the second date is the 29th of June to the 26th of July. And again, this includes your arrival date and departure date. So the price varies according to the amount of time you'll be spending there. Either $2,350 for 6 weeks, and then $1,550 for 4 weeks. I'll now be handing over to Jono. He is our Cape Town logistics coordinator, and he'll be giving you a quick overview of the projects in Cape Town.
Thanks, Jolene. Guys, I'll be running through the Cape Town portion of the volunteer program. So you'll be arriving in Cape Town around about the 21st or 22nd of June. Again, you'll be met by an ex-representative, and then you'll be coming to Kommetjie, which is the village where you'll be staying in. All our project work is based in the communities around the valley. It's about 45 minutes drive from the airport, approximately 25 minutes from the city itself, and you'll get a chance to spend some time out here. Where you'll be staying is a lodge called Ecowave Lodge. It's a fantastic, quite modern house that is with literally 2 minutes walk from the beach. One of Cape Town's best surfing beaches. Great place to go for walks or runs if you like to keep fit. There's great hiking in the area as well. You'll have all your meals home cooked by a chef in the lodge. There's free Wi-Fi, and there's a lot to do in the kind of small village of Kommetjie. And your ministry is only based about 10 minutes away at the Living Hope headquarters. Just to run over a little bit of the ministry service, we partner with an organization called Living Hope, which was founded a couple of years ago. We've been now working with them for 8 years. They also have a partner churches in the US. Living Hope started to address the need in the valley around Kommetjie of there's a lot of gang-related violence, there's a lot of unemployment, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Spiritually, upliftment, there's a number of great projects that we partner with them for. As I say, we've been working with them for 8 years, have some very good successful projects that our groups and volunteers work in, and I'm sure there'll be definitely some interest for you in some of these projects. The majority of the time will be spent doing the Holiday Children and Teens Club. This program was started as the need was felt that the youth were, the afternoon hours during the holidays and after school were a problem time in the communities, as this is when a lot of the youth were getting into gang-related violence. There was drug abuse, and it's just a time when the parents are away working if they have jobs and they're left unattended. So Living Hope set up what we call teen clubs, which is a great way of facilitating fun, educational and spiritually uplifting activities such as craft, songs, sports activities, story time, puppet shows, games. The age range is depending on the day, but we generally have some quite small children, and then in the afternoons have teens who are kind of the most susceptible youth in the area. So it's kind of, we go into the communities, we talk, we play, we entertain the kids. You go through some spiritual stuff. There's some devotionals, Bible storytelling, and it's just a great way to connect with the youth in a time of the day and in their holidays when they can get up to mischief, and it's just kind of helping them to stay grounded. There's also a lot of potential, as in the other areas in Africa, for community work. This includes kind of refurbishment. We have construction projects, vegetable gardens, building sandboxes or jungle gyms at preschools. So it really is dependent on what the community needs at the time and the resources that are available and the time that we have to kind of make a meaningful difference to the community in ways such as fixing up houses or fixing broken roofs, or there's a number of projects that are always available, and we'll just see at the time what the need is of the communities. Then there's also the homeless ministry. A huge part of the population is unemployed in South Africa, and often this leads to them losing their houses and being forced to live life in the streets. A lot of these people kind of are without hope and are just living day to day, just trying to get enough money to provide for themselves and their families on the day. So we go with these homeless people, and we kind of share our faith and just help them out, give them an ear to listen to, showing compassion for their situation. And we also help with feeding programs, some Bible studies, some worship devotionals, and just generally giving them a bit of a sense of encouragement for their lives, and just showing them that someone does care for them and that they aren't forgotten. We then move on to community outreach. Here we go into the communities and we're partnering with some of the churches in the communities. This could be involved in leading the worship, kind of sharing your stories with the congregation, helping out with Sunday school for the kids, and just general upliftment programs. As I said, these are all church-based projects, and at the time of the summer project, often these will spring up kind of during the week, and we'll get invited to attend a church sermon at one of the churches in the area or even around Cape Town. And it really is one of the highlights of the trip, going into the different churches, seeing how kind of different parts of the African culture, how they worship Christ, and how you can get involved and really feel a part of that. We also Living Hope does have a number of different faculties of it. One of the projects is called Living Way, which is an agricultural upliftment program, and Living Grace, which is a medical upliftment program, which does HIV testing and just offering some advice and basic health services. So in your last week of the project, you will be able to get a feel of these kind of initiatives, and what the work that they are doing in the communities in those areas. Here, Cape Town is a real wealth of activities for any kind of whatever you're interested in. Some of the activities which we have included in your package is going up Table Mountain on the cable car, which is an amazing, spectacular views of the two oceans and the whole peninsula. And then going to Cape Point, which is the southwesternmost tip of Africa, and also Boulders Beach, which is home to an African penguin colony, which is quite a sight to see. And then at the end of your ministry, we found that having a couple of days where you kind of get out of your situation and can really reflect on the work that you've done is an awesome way to end the project. And so we've planned a 3-day Garden Route safari, which includes 2 nights at the Garden Route Game Lodge, which is a Big 5 reserve. It's really awesome. And en route, we'll be going along the East Coast, and you will have the option of doing some activities such as shark cage diving, whale watching, canopy tours, and so on.
Okay, thank you, Jono. I'll be just running through the quick overview. I hope all of you could hear very well what these projects involve. Please remember to ask questions at any time during this presentation. Okay, so the summer project overview in Cape Town. It's 5.5 weeks, just about, and it's from the 23rd of June to the 26th of July. So there's only one option in with this project. Please also note to arrive a day or two before. And then the cost of this would be $2,460 per person. I just want to make sure that you also note that with all these projects, your meals are included, accommodation, as well as transport to and from the airport, as well as transport to and from the included activities where applicable, as well as transport to and from your ministry work during your stay. And as also mentioned initially, your ACT representative or guide will be with you at all times, and all projects have coordinators, so you'll really see the value of being part of the project, and they'll plan specific inputs that you will have during your time here. Okay, so I mentioned I'm going to quickly touch on the funding parts of things. So, I mean, in many cases, we've had inquiries and requests of people wanting to volunteer, and then, just saying you want to sign up, but where do you actually get the money to do so? Because obviously there are costs involved. So I thought the main thing to mention here is if you don't ask for money or for funds, you won't get. So it's important to know that you can actually go out there and try and find the funds. I thought it's a good idea to start off with fundraising tips, looking at, first of all, what are the costs that you're looking at. I mean, as I mentioned, all the transfers from the airport to and from the airport are included. You're looking at the costs of your project orientation. There are managers involved that need to orientate you on the community you're working within, and that's part of existing projects that we need to accommodate them with a certain fee. Your ministry work, your transport to and from the ministry, full boarding, full lodging, and then the extra fee that's also included is an actual project fee. The reason I touch on this is many people are not clear on why there actually needs to be a project fee. This fee actually goes back directly to the project you're working with, and it is normally for things like materials that are supplied during your involvement, whether it is building materials or equipment, even supplies and other forms when you're teaching, for instance, paper, pens, all these kind of things. And that goes, all the work you're doing with that community, it goes directly back to them through this project fee. So when you start doing fundraising, you need to take into account not only your project fee that you're going to pay and your overall summer project amount that's required. You also need to take into account that the flights are excluded. I have a contact for you at FTI Travel, which I will give through at the end of the presentation. You can book, if you refer or mention Axe Africa, you can say you're booking from our side. They will help you with travel agent rates and good rates for flights. You also need to bear in mind that all meals are included, but of course, if you wanted to do some extra activities that aren't included, or if you would like, to buy clothes before you come to make sure that you've got the relevant clothes, or even if you just want to come and spend money on souvenirs, on little special items, just to make sure to plan for that and budget for that as well. So that's basically what you need to focus on when you fundraise is first off what kind of money you would need, and then of course also when you fundraise and you are presenting your case to an organization or a church, you need to make sure that you understand the projects you'll be working with and share the impact you will have with these relevant institutions so that you can show them what impact their funds will have on the community they're contributing towards, during your stay. That is very important. So that is a good place to start. Is first off is with your family and friends and your church. In many cases, churches have been very helpful in raising funds for volunteers that wanted to come. And as I mentioned, sharing your projects, we can help you with information for that, making sure that they understand where the money goes towards. Then also there are several other places you can try. You can contact us and we can help guide you. We don't have all the answers, but in various cases there would be educational institutions and charities or businesses or trusts or business charities that would be interested in funding a volunteer. Firstly, making sure that they know that they're making a difference. Obviously, also in many cases wanting some recognition that they have contributed towards that difference. And then at the end of the day, also try and be creative. There are several other ideas. If you are interested in these ideas, I can send you an information pack with fundraising ideas and tips. This website I've listed here is fundthenations.com is an excellent example of how you can raise funds. They basically have T-shirts. You explain to them what project you're going to. They give you a preliminary design that you approve, and then you actually sell the T-shirts before they are made, and they are made to order, and you can then distribute the T-shirts. So it's someone's actually purchasing something and sponsoring you through the process, and it could be any kind of cool or interesting T-shirt that will sell easily, and people will know that they're actually making a difference while they're buying these T-shirts. Okay, it's very difficult to do. I mean, safety in Africa is probably a whole presentation on its own. I'm sure many people have questions. I think the first thing to mention from our side is that in every country you travel, you need to take precautions and be aware of the safety guidelines relevant to that specific country. So Africa is relatively safe. I think many people have very scary and distorted perceptions of Africa. That is why it's important that you work with an organization that understands the on the ground situation, and we do carry your safety on our hearts. Obviously, it's very difficult to guarantee safety at all times, but we have really not had incidents where people's lives have been in danger. And I think in various cases, the places our volunteers stay at have been relatively safe at all times. Medical facilities, contrary to what many think, are available in most urban centres, and they normally have high standards with international doctors. So you do not have to worry about your medical scenario. What is important is that you take note that you do need medical or travel insurance when you come, and this also is not arranged directly by us, but you can find out from your local travel agent how you go about doing that. And then obviously, if you have chronic medication that you need to take, although we do have pharmacies and clinics and hospitals, it's best to bring your own medication along just to make sure that you've got the right medication on hand. We do have ambulance services available for remote towns and villages, so you do not need to feel that you're completely isolated from medical help. Then on the positive side is when you do come to Africa, besides the massive need and need for spiritual and material help, there's actually it's also quite an easy place to work with in terms of red tape, and because there are existing projects that are government approved, it's in many cases easier to work with than in other areas in the world. Okay, so this is a really a large overview of all these different and various projects that we have. As mentioned, it's not exhaustive, and we do short-term mission trips as well. And then obviously we help a lot of missionary groups that already have planned ministry in Africa, just to help them with their logistics. So please go ahead if you do have any questions. On my side, I have not been able to see any questions. I can either put you on audio, or if you want to type one quickly, you're welcome to do so. Okay, so I see there aren't any direct questions at this stage. You do have our email address. You can either email charl@axafrica.com, where the email that was used for the invites, or jono@axafrica.com. That's JONO@axafrica.com. Alternatively, we can also give you the regional office contact details, or just for the easy email address, you can use info@axafrica.com. Please, if you are interested in using our contact for your flights, you are welcome to also ask us, and we'll send you through the contacts for FTI. So we would like to just end off and say thank you, everyone, for attending. We appreciate your time and your ears, and we hope that this has been insightful and informative to you, and that we will hear from you again in the future. Okay, so that officially brings us to the end of our webinar. Have a good afternoon or morning on your side. It's almost end of the day on our side, and we hope to hear from you.